we're gonna jump off of a ramp, fly onto a trampoline, and bounce off of it. Is this gonna work? Find out in this video. Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at a mod that adds a giant trampoline to the game. And I say giant because usually a trampoline can't fit an entire car. This one, oh yeah, it can fit an entire car very, very easily. So here we go. We're going to drop a car onto it, and you know what? What the heck? We're going to really drop a car onto it. Now this is probably not going to go too well, but it's too late. There's no going back on it. We're dropping it from so high up. I'm just glad it didn't miss. And the one thing I've learned is you almost always want to just do the camera manually like this, so you can actually see the impact, because most of the time if you do the camera automatically, it's just a complete spinning mess and you can't tell what the heck is going on. But on this one, we could tell the trampoline bottomed out, and then it popped us over the lights before we once again hit the ground on the other side of the fence. You know what? I hear the engine. It's still on. Does that mean it can still accelerate? No, it does not mean that. It just means it's on and it's connected to the gas tank somehow. But it really looks like you could just go ahead and grab the engine and basically yank it out of the vehicle if you wanted to, right? Come here, engine. Look at the way it's bouncing around. And there we go. It is now completely disconnected, or as the game says, it's broken. To me, it looks perfectly intact. Everything else, see, that's what's broken. Engine, you're doing pretty good. Anyways, we'll go ahead and reset the truck, and let's take a look at the trampoline after that. Looks very solid, no damage at all. And you know what? Hey, here comes the truck again in full speed. You can see just how fast the truck bounces off of the trampoline and flies back into the air before it goes into the bushes. So why don't we do that one more time, but this time, bigger, heavier vehicle. How much bigger, how much heavier? As much as we can do. How about a T75 cement mixer? And we're going to fall with a lot of power behind us. So last one, it barely bottomed out the trampoline. This thing is falling perfectly flat. It is going to bottom out the whole thing, if not just break it. So 16 times slow-mo. Again, we need to take the camera off of the vehicle because it will freak out, and completely bottoming out the trampoline and completely breaking the left side, which means I don't know if it's going to actually recoil. No, I broke it, so it doesn't really bounce it back into the air. I have just caused complete and utter destruction. So we'll try this again. Lower the height quite a bit of the T-Series. I'm going to bring it down to maybe that first height you saw, like right here. I don't think that'll break the trampoline, but it should be able to still do a pretty good bounce. So again, 4 times slow motion. That's what happens when you don't manually set the camera. It freaks out, but it bounced it just as high as the last one, and still it broke some of the trampoline on the edge. So maybe what we need to do is center up the truck just a bit more. So all I'm going to do is teleport the truck ever so slightly forward, so it'll hopefully be centered on the trampoline. Now everyone, cross your fingers. Oh yeah, that is nice and centered. That is exactly where I want it to be. And again, we'll use 16 times slow motion, and it is bottoming out the trampoline, hitting the cement. So we're still technically too high for the trampoline to really do its thing, but all the springs are still intact, so it should bounce us somewhat into the air. A little bit. You see the lighter parts definitely got popped up, like the wheels. The vehicle itself, more height than if you dropped it on concrete, but not nearly as bouncy as like the D series we dropped earlier. And you can actually tune the trampoline to make it work with something heavy like the T series, and I'll show you that in a bit. For now, I want to focus on how the trampoline works out of the box before we start messing with it and breaking it. So how about we go with the pickle, and just for fun, we'll get the Baja, which has that extra ground clearance and extra suspension travel, which might make it bounce even better on the trampoline. Although there is one small problem. You see that giant dent? Boom, giant dent, be gone. And it was worth it. That thing bounced almost as high as the initial height, it seemed like. That was a huge bounce, and the second one wasn't bad at all either until it went really sideways and ended up inside of the trees, which is not where it's supposed to be. But that does give me an interesting idea, which we're going to have to come back to. But first, here's a look at the damage to the pickle. And then we bring him back up here, and we're going to replace the pickle with something else. You know, it's made to bounce a ball. So if you put a bouncy ball on a trampoline, it probably won't bounce at all. They'll cancel each other out. The real reason is the ball's probably too light. Yeah. See, the ball doesn't do enough to make the trampoline compress, so it can't bounce it back up. I just had to try and make sure though. So ball goes back up. And what else can we throw into the trampoline and see what happens? How about a cinder block wall? These are nice lightweight blocks. And I think having all of them bounce upwards should be kind of interesting to see. So again, we're going to probably have to use a separate camera. So the blocks are going to make contact. What kind of camera angle do we like? Yep, that looks good. All of them go down and then shoot them back up. It has the recoil. And there we go. That actually worked really well at bouncing them. I like that. And now it's going to rain cinder blocks. So let's take cover in the only thing around here. That seems safe. Haha! My genius idea of taking cover under the trampoline worked great. I'm assuming some of them actually, yep, they ended up back on top of the trampoline. So here's the same thing, but this time in full speed. Boing! And it's got some pretty good height on it. But here's the part I didn't get to see is all of them bouncing on the trampoline again. That's actually pretty cool to watch. But all these things I've done so far make me want to go to a map that's a little bit more wide open, which will allow us to do some more fun things. So let's swap from the ETK test area and head over to grid map because it has huge wide open areas where we can do whatever we want. First things first, let's go ahead and get ourselves a round bouncy boy and just put him right next to the pickup truck. And then we got to find the right spot for him. So what I want to do is I want to hit this jump, fly into the air, and then land on the trampoline. So if I had to guess, we would probably fly to right about there. That seems like a perfectly reasonable spot. And I'm just going to stick with the pickup truck for this because we need something that has the ground clearance and the suspension travel to not only hit the ramp, but also hit the trampoline and then continue driving somehow. So here we go, going about 70 miles per hour on impact, flying nice and straight, and this is exactly where you want to land, right about in the middle of the trampoline, bouncing us way into the air. This is possibly just as high as we were at the peak of the jump, and we crash like that. And when you crash like that, that's definitely not good for driving. In fact, that's completely detrimental to driving, and we're not going to drive at all. But it did work surprisingly well at catching the vehicle. What that means though is we must test this again with a vehicle that's more off-road focused. So come on down, D15 Rock Crawler. I think he has a good chance of making this jump, but there is one concern I have. What speed will it get to when it gets to the ramp? As long as it's about the same, it should be good, and it looks like it's going to be pretty close, maybe a little bit slower. Will it make it? Oh, it's not going to make it. It is not going to make it. So, the easy solution, we move the trampoline a little bit closer. So trampoline goes there, and we're going to use slow-mo to make sure that looks good. Okay, trampoline is bouncing upwards. I don't know what I've done there, but that's fine. This is not fine. What have I done? Oh no. Trampoline is now a wall, and it's going to do like a takedown on the truck. Right. I don't know how I managed that one. So, hey, it's back on its feet. Anyways, truck, go back. We're going to try this again. Trampoline. There, that's what you were supposed to do. How did you go upwards last time? That doesn't even make sense. Okay, so try number 2 with this. As long as gravity continues to work the way I expect it, as in it pulls things down, not pushes things up, we should be okay. If it inverts itself, oh, heck no. Alright, so everything's working good. How's the positioning of the jump? Oh, that is nice. Right on the trampoline, flipping it around and landing. Well, it didn't land on its wheels, but if we turn the engine off and flip it back onto its wheels, I'm almost certain it'll be able to drive. Got some pretty good roof damage. Not going to slow us down though because that's just cosmetic. This thing drives straight, almost. There's a small pull possibly to the right, but it's totally drivable and fun enough where I want to go ahead and try this one more time. The only difference I want here is hopefully I'll find a way to land on my wheels. And if I did that dumb thing where I put a random clip at the start of the video, I would be like, we're going to jump off of a ramp, fly onto a trampoline, and bounce off of it. Is this going to work? Find out in this video. And the answer is, yes, it does work because we have landed on our wheels. It's not the way I expected to do it, but we did it. And as you can see, this trampoline does a great job of probably making the truck have more damage than if there was no trampoline at all. That's the funny part. If the trampoline wasn't there, it probably just landed and kept on driving, I'm pretty sure. So let's go ahead and test that real quickly. Doing the exact same thing. And then what are we going to do? There's a trampoline in the way. Yeah, that's where you're wrong. Because look, trampoline's over here now. And it's going to go up or down. I don't know. What is it going to do? Let's see. It's going upwards. Physics, man. I don't understand physics. I thought I did. Turns out I don't. But just as expected, yeah, the truck looks like it turned out better without the trampoline there. There is maybe some frame bend going on, but it drives pretty much just as straight. In fact, it might have been driving straight before. The thing is, the suspension just leans, so it makes it feel like the truck's not driving straight, even when it is. Okay, back to the flying trampoline nonsense here. What? What? Okay, interesting. And then, huh? What? I don't understand. Why trampoline go up? Why trampoline go up? This is very unexpected. So I guess what you gotta do is you gotta actually put the trampoline slightly in the ground. Otherwise it just shoots off into the air. And if I had to guess, I guess it's just something with the way the physics are designed for this thing. And wow, it just keeps going up and up and up and up. Okay, I don't even know what to say anymore because I'm literally starting it buried in the ground and it still goes up. So what if we clone a new one? Will that one go into the air too? Nope, that one obeys the laws of physics and gravity. This one, I don't know what's up with him, but bye. And back to the trampoline so I can show you what you can modify on it. So first off, you can change the length. Right now we have the longest legs available, but there are shorter ones as well, which I'm probably never going to use because the way I see it, the longer the legs are, the better, because that means it can compress farther and shoot whatever lands on it up higher into the air. Then for tuning, we can modify the frame, mat, and springs, so we can make the frame itself stronger and heavier. We can make the mat, which is the center section here, more rigid, and then we can also modify the springs to make them more durable or more stiff. So for example, if we wanted to actually catch and bounce a T-Series, we could put the stiffness to like 500,000, put the mat rigidity to 150,000. These are just massive numbers, aren't they? And then we'll also make everything nice and strong. So springs, we'll bring it up to 50%, and then the frame strength, we're gonna max that out because there's no reason I think to not have a strong frame. And now we should have a really strong circle bouncy boy. So we're gonna try the T-Series one more time and see if it works now. And we're going to do it the exact same way as last time. Just teleport it a bit into the air and see what happens. That's about the same height as before, I think. And we're dropping this with some slow-mo so we can really see. Does it hold up? Pretty good centering. Is it going to do it? Oh, yes. Look at the increase in strength that it has. No doubt. Okay, I had a lot of doubt. A lot of doubt. But now, I am confident in the abilities. And look at the height it got. It got much, much higher than last time. And that is exactly why there is a tuning menu available for the trampoline. So you can do things like that. In the end, it still ended with a lot of damage. But it was fun to watch it. Why don't we do that one more time? But this time, no slow-mo. Just full speed. And you can see really just how massively violent it is when it hits the trampoline. It really bounces hard and beautifully. And it's starting to tip it over. But even after all of that, it held its shape pretty well. It looks like it's fully intact. So let's go ahead and clean up our mess. We don't need this T-Series anymore. So hit the button and be gone, T-Series. And now what I want to do is I want to drive into the trampoline directly and then bounce off of it. So we got to put it onto its side. And if we just leave it like that, it's going to roll around. And the part I want to drive into is way up in the air. So we need to teleport it slightly into the ground. Is it going to stay? Oh, kind of. It might work. It's a little bit of a mystery, but mysteries are good because then you get to be surprised by the outcome. So for the car, I'm just going to grab a really fast SBR4 and then we are off. And hopefully we hit it at over 100 miles per hour so we can really bounce off of it. Perfect. Over 100 miles per hour, about 110 miles per hour. And then what's going to happen here? Here we go. It hits it and it just kind of pushes it out of the way. Okay, I expected it to stay in the ground a little bit more. It did not. I can find a solution to this. So what we can do is we can use the node grabber to really kind of lock it in place. So you see this node down here? All we do is we just make it locked in place about where it already is. So we just move it just a little bit forward. And we got to do that for all the corners that we can see. You see there's not a lot of nodes on the underside of this. You just got to find the ones that are there and make use of them. So there's one here too. Any more in the just floating area? There's another one in the floating area. How about one on this foot? Okay. So then we make the node strength up to 100 and it should be really strong in position. I think. Let's see if I'm right. Same exact test as before, this time with the reinforcements. All right, about the same speed as last time, using some slow motion, and then does it bounce it? Come on, bounce it. That's better. Okay. See, that's what I wanted to see. The trampoline holds its spot, and then the car bounces backwards after the impact. And it really does actually bounce. That's perfect. And that's another one of those crashes where, hey, let's do it again in full speed, but this time I want to see what the camera does if it stays attached to the vehicle. So here we go. Smacking it. The camera worked perfectly, and that was a really fun crash. I love that. We gotta do this at a higher speed. So what's faster than that? Well, not many cars, but we can get a drag car and go a little bit faster. So we'll get the drag version of the Burnside Special, and then if we line it up, we could probably pull out a little extra speed if we don't have to do so many maneuvers. So we'll spot it to right about there. And because I'm lazy, that block that's right in the way, not for long. Goodbye. Okay, that didn't work. Try again. I have absolutely no idea what I did in the first time. Hopefully it wasn't important. But now we got drag car power and well over 110 miles per hour. 140 miles per hour. And it bounced me perfectly. I know, that's not how you use a trampoline, YBR. I don't care. It's cool. All right, what if we use it as like a barrier just to slow down a vehicle that's going at a decent speed? So we're just going to get like a slightly upgraded Pessima, and we're going to drive into it about 40 miles per hour. So like this is a speed that would usually cause some good damage to the vehicle. What happens in this situation? It bounces it pretty good, but it flips it onto its roof, which gives me a dumb idea. If we increase the speed to about 50 miles per hour, can we do a flip? Let's find out. Oh, yes, we can. All right, let's try to go for another round. If it's still driving, we can do another flip. Yeah, it wasn't that badly damaged. For a 50 mile per hour collision and a flip, it looks good. So here we go, about 50 miles per hour again, and a little bit crooked this time. We can ride ourselves, can't we? Come on, Pessima. Oh, yeah. So now I'll try it again at a slower speed so you can see a little bit of variety into the mix. So this time we're only going to go about 30 miles per hour, which is just barely enough to keep us where we don't flip onto our back. That's really fun. I absolutely love having the trampoline like this, where it's just locked in place and it's a bouncy material you can crash things into. All right, next thing I want to test though requires some setup. Actually requires quite a bit of setup. So the first thing we need to do is we need to grab this tube. This is my tube now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it onto its side. We want to rotate it exactly 90 degrees. So I'm just going to this number up here and I'm going to make sure it says -90. And then I'm going to bring it over to the trampoline. I hope you see where this is going. Because you remember earlier where I was trying to drop things onto the trampoline and they kept bouncing off of the trampoline? Well, that won't be the case much longer because it won't have a choice. So next we need to scale this thing down until it looks like it's about the right size so it matches up with the size of the trampoline. The trampoline's all crooked and stuff, so I need to make sure it is once again level with the ground. And I don't know what I was just clicking on, but it wasn't the trampoline. There is the trampoline. So level it up. And then we're going to just place it right inside of the tube to figure out how big the tube should be. And of course, the reason I'm showing you all this is so you could do it yourself if you wanted to. Alright, so we don't need to make it that much smaller, actually, just a little bit. So what we need to do is we need to modify all of the numbers under scale, and once I find the right ones, I'll be back. Okay, for the scale, I didn't modify the first one because that's just the length of the tube. For the other two, I put 0.61, which seems like it's a pretty good fit all around. There's a little bit of space on the edges, but not enough where it can really change things up too much, although it's not quite centered, so we can just move it like so, and now it should be perfect and ready to go. Now the nice thing is straight up above us, there are a bunch of bricks, and those bricks are falling, and they will hit the trampoline, and hopefully it'll cause some interesting things. There they are. Yeah, it almost looks like a blender. You got them bouncing all over the place, but they all end up back on the trampoline this time. That's just nice. Now here's the next dumb thing, is if we grab the centerpiece of the trampoline, for example, and then pull it down, does it bounce the bricks up? Not really. Here's another way to test this. Ooh, it's actually getting bent. You can see on the outer edge over here. But the next thing I was going to test is if we go to the environment and then we make gravity really strong and then make it earth. Does it bounce it? No, which also could just be because it's so badly damaged. Oh, here's a good one we could do. All right, watch this. We're going to wait. And moon gravity. That's not really testing the trampoline in any way, but it's cool. We got all these bricks floating in the air. You gotta like dodge through the bricks like you're going through an asteroid field, right? Like woo, woo, dodge, dodge, dodge. Get to the trampoline. Yeah, I'm just messing around now. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. So we'll finish this up with something where I have absolutely no idea what it's gonna do. We're gonna go to Leap of Death, and we're gonna try stuff. I say try stuff because I legitimately don't know if it's gonna go up into space or down into the bottom of Leap of Death. It's a true mystery. For example, did you know it's gonna be on the edge of the rocks like that? I didn't. All right, so let's just see. Plop it here, and which way is it gonna go? It's gonna go down. Hey, good job obeying gravity. Although it's also kind of going in a direction, and now it's just a giant wheel. Oh, look at the strength of this thing. It has some dents, but it's rolling with it. Literally rolling with it. Ah! I am surprised at how amusing this is. I thought this would be very, very boring. But no, it's actually doing this neat little rolling maneuver where it's just slowly getting damaged. It almost reminds me of when you get the hamster wheel and then you kind of put the hamster wheel down Leap of Death. It's the same kind of thing. Very, very similar. It's also taking its sweet time to go down. It just kind of like has that UFO effect where it starts to spin and then it slows down in the air for some reason. And it's like, come on, get to the bottom. Go, go, go. And it is almost there. 3, 2, 1, and contact with the water now. That took forever. All right, so the thing about the trampoline is I'm sure there are a lot of weird things you can do with it. If you guys have any ideas that you would like to see, do leave a comment, and if there are enough comments, we can make a part 2 where we do even more weird things with the trampoline. Until then, though, this has been WhyBeAre, and remember, if you like or dislike this video, I will know. I can tell by how high things bounce off of the trampoline. So do the right thing, and I'll see you next time. And as a fun bonus, this is what happens if you use the other camera angle. It gets dark. I don't know why. It just decides to get dark. I don't know. I don't know.